Hey, what is up everyone? Pastor JAMZ here back with another review, and today we have the new collab album between Rich the Kid and Lil Wayne, Trust Fund Babies. This was released just this past Friday, and I had no idea it was out. After it was brought to my attention, I quickly hopped onto this because, Lil Wayne, top veteran, I enjoy his music quite a bit, and think that even though, over the years he's tried to maybe get used and get up with the times. I still think that he is a good good artist, a good rapper. Um, and then like a collab album with Rich the Kid, really caught me by surprise. Rich the Kid, kind of a hit, a little miss for me. I just think a little mediocre, not so much. I've heard worse, but I don't really keep up with him anymore, and that's probably why I had no idea that this was even coming out. Um, so yeah, it is finally here, and I have done my review. I've compelled my thoughts together. Let's jump right into it. So you're met with 10 tracks and 28 minutes. Right off the bat, I noticed that the first track is the one that's getting the most traction and traffic. Uh, that's kind of a bad thing because I noticed when albums tend to have that going on, that means that people aren't necessarily being attracted to the album, and after the first two or three songs they don't even listen to the rest of the album. So that was a little warning sign for me. Feeling Like Tunchi, that's the most trending song out of the whole album. It's the first track, and it's decent. I wasn't really blown away by it or anything, but I noticed that perhaps the I noticed right away that both rappers, Rich the Kid and Lil Wayne, were really one sided. I didn't get any chemistry whatsoever between the two. You can really tell right off the bat that both rappers are on totally different levels. And spoiler alert, Lil Wayne is the one who's carrying the whole album, and you can really tell that Lil Wayne is more experienced. Uh, has more of a constructive flow, a more consistent flow, and more of like a wordplay, even if some of his lyricism throughout the album may be a little questionable. Um, but in terms of experience, I mean, if that's not necessarily a bad thing either. If you don't have a lot of experience in the game, Rich the Kid or other young rappers, they can be more wild and eccentric. Something be more a little bit experimental and bring something new to the table that people will admire and enjoy and give you credit for. You don't have to be so one dimensional, and even that. If you're going to be collabing with a veteran artist, kind of be on the same try to be on the same level, have some chemistry brewing within the studio where the both of you can really construct a well put together album, and fans will say, you know what, they did need to do this because it works so well. But when you're just surrounded by corny lyricism and one dimensional rap flows, Rich the Kid comes so flat, he's not even in the same ballpark as Lil Wayne in this album. Uh, you have tracks like Trust Fund when Rich the Kid goes first, and he's talking about trying to be humble, this and that, but then he's saying some corny ass stuff like, "Oh, I want to I could have bought her a house, but I bought her cheese pizza." Something stuff like that is what comes out of his mouth throughout this whole album. And then I believe he says something around the lines of he wanted to make seven figures instead of $700 or something like that. Oh, he didn't want to work 750. He wanted to make seven figures. Okay, that's cool and all. Maybe you're trying to be humble. This is a more humble song. But Lil Wayne does his verse, and it's completely different. Not really following whatever Rich the Kid was doing. Um, I just feel like when artists collab on an album, they have to be on the same page, because if they're not, this is gonna happen. There's gonna be two sides to the coin, and not in a good sense. Lil Wayne is known also for his vulgar language and vulgar lyricism throughout his music, and I mean it's a little bearable, but sometimes it could really be overdone. But Rich the Kid kind of takes that to a new whole standard because, my God, like it's really I okay. I mean, it's an explicit album. It's explicit lyrics. I mean, we're all adults. Most of us are adults. But yeah, even for me, sometimes it kind of gets in the way of a true message or even like a really good song. Like it doesn't there doesn't have to be a really deep message or anything. Like it could be a really hardcore banger. But if you're just going to flood your lyricism with really explicit and vulgar lyrics that are beyond what even Lil Wayne does, really gets in the way and doesn't really attract my attention towards your flow or what you're saying at all. I believe it was Still. Rich the Kid really goes above and beyond and really exploiting sexual activities with women. And then the last track, Yeah Yeah, really really bad. Like, oh my god, he degrades women by comparing them to dogs, and they uses that certain word that I'm not going to say. But I mean, yeah, there's plenty of other artists, even artists that I enjoy, who use that type of language. But just the descriptive, like, intensity that he goes into is so really mind numbing, and I don't even want to like go back to and listen to those tracks anymore. And it honestly just ruins the song. And that's saying something. That's not even saying anything because the song in itself was already terrible. I also noticed that towards the end, Lil Wayne kind of has to fix himself and get on par with Rich the Kid, lowering his standards, and that's really bad. That's not. I wouldn't really blame Lil Wayne for that, because to me, I feel like he knew that this wasn't going to go anywhere, and Rich the Kid couldn't get on his level, so Lil Wayne had to go down and stoop to his level, and you just really not his best work. um, Even though it's way better than Rich the Kids, it's just not really going well. And the feature with YG, which is the only feature on this whole album, yeah, toss that in the garbage as well. Also, sexualizing women to a really hardcore extent. Um, Not great. But altogether, I'm not. I didn't even touch the production on this video on this review. Yeah, really mediocre production. The only two tracks that were really interesting were Headlock and Bleedin, because Headlock incorporated like these really eerie violins and like a more like hardcore trap beat. And then Bleedin was the whole lyricism flow was interesting. But in terms of production, this whole album was really generic. You have generic trap beats, something that might have been whipped up between 15 and 45 minutes from a producer. Um, yeah, I've heard underground artists produce more hardcore beats to a collab joint album of this extent that than whatever was put onto this production wise. And yes, we have come to the score. I'm going to give this Trust Fund Babies, the collab album between Lil Wayne and Rich the Kid, a bad 3. Lil Wayne, for the most part, carries the whole album. Rich the Kid just comes with corny, offensive, and really vulgar, hardcore flows and lyricism that it just isn't even enjoyable, even for the most extreme listeners. Um, from a really ridiculous album cover, which doesn't affect the score, I'm just saying, I'm just bringing that to your attention, to a generic production, bad 3, terrible 3. Anyways, that is the review. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you even want to listen to this album, it's going to be linked in the description below, along with my social media. Make sure you check it out, and let me know what you all think. But I'll see you all in the next review. Peace and stay safe.